Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. I'm Jimmy.
And I'm Eva.
And this is Constant Agitation, your weekly podcast about photography where we look at the works of a different photographer every week. And we look at different news, fun articles about photography, maybe otherwise sometimes. And we usually answer your questions, photography related. This week we don't have any.
No questions this
No
week.
questions this week.
I think people are on holidays a little bit.
Yeah, we were also a little bit too late to post about the questions yesterday on Instagram.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Maybe next week. Remember that you can also send your questions as an email, DM us on Instagram. It doesn't have to be through the post, but the post is just a reminder.
Mm-hmm.
And with the intro out of the way, what do we have for today?
So today we are going to talk about prize that has just been given yesterday, photography prize that has to do a little bit with science as well. And we're going to talk about a book or a project that I just found recently that I absolutely love.
All right, hold on a second.
What's happening?
We have a sync problem.
No.
Yeah.
How come?
I don't know what to do. What do you guys say? Should we restart this whole thing? Because I don't know why it's out of sync. I see it too as well. It's a very big out of sync. Maybe 3 seconds.
No.
Yeah. Usually I put ice cubes under the laptop today. I thought maybe I shouldn't.
You think it's because of that?
Let me see. No, it's actually we're running at 67 degrees. All right, hold on. How can I fix this? Let me see if I... All right, so I'm going to try to do something. If the stream goes down...
Don't go away. We'll be back.
But
right?
Here's the thing. All the links are going to be missing.
We changed them to Constant Agitation 25.2.
Yeah, I know, CM. Yeah, all right. We'll see if this goes down, we'll come back in a different...
stream. Just keep hanging on a little bit.
All right, let me see what I can do. Maybe it's still there.
Oh, yeah, actually it is still there.
But the sync is still problematic.
Is it?
Yeah. And we're live. Welcome to live entertainment.
Oh my god.
Why is it out of sync? Let me see if I can fix it.
2 seconds? So 2000 milliseconds?
Testing? No.
Testing? It's oh my god. Yeah, guys, maybe
I can't put the music and double check if it's
that's
working.
true.
Okay. I'm gonna try something. What about now? Yeah, I fixed it.
It's fixed it?
I fixed it.
All right. Okay. So
I think you plugged the. Let us know in the chat, by the way,
if it sounds
if it's
okay.
fixed. All
Yeah,
right.
it says okay. Cham is saying okay.
All right. I think this port is problematic.
The
one
bottom one on the right?
the top one on the
Okay.
left.
On the left, sorry.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, good there, I know.
Yeah.
All right.
So cool. We fixed it without having to do another stream or another link.
That's great.
That's
All right.
really cool.
So I think we can start from the point of what are we going to talk about today?
Yes.
Right? So then I can fix the audio for the podcast version.
Right.
All right. So today we're going to talk about a prize, a photography prize that has been given out actually yesterday. And it's a photography prize, but it also has to do a little bit about science. So it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to go over a book. Well, it's not a book. It's more like a project that I found recently and that I absolutely adore. It's one of my favorite things that I had come across in a really long time. So I hope you guys also like it and maybe also participate as well. And then we're going to talk about our photographer of the day,
Mm-hmm.
which is Gregory Crewdson.
Yes.
I think it's pronounced like that. I'm not sure.
I think so too. Photographer was suggested by CM. Thank you for the suggestion. I did watch the documentary. We did both watch the documentary yesterday, and we'll talk more about that in a bit. The documentary that I'm referring to is called Brief Encounters. Also, CM suggested that I watch it. It was really cool. And yeah, we'll keep that to later. But I wanted to mention that because if you're watching and you also have suggestions, favorite photographers you want us to talk about and look into, please send them to me or Eva. Anyways, so let's look at, what is it called? Welcome?
The Welcome.
Yeah.
The Welcome Photography Prize. So actually, Welcome is charitable fund that gives money to the most pressing health issues around the world. So I know of Welcome because they put a lot of money and a lot of effort and a lot of really good work on the problem of antimicrobial resistance, which is what I work with every day. So that's how I know about them. And because I follow them on Twitter and in the social media through my work, today I just found out that they actually have this photography prize. And I just opened the website and I was pretty pleased with the photos I found. I think it's a very nice collection, and the topic that they touch upon and the three main topics of this particular contest I think are very relevant, and the photos are equally good to the task. So I think it was nice to maybe go through them, and we can also the prize, these are the shortlists, and yesterday they gave out the prize, and I think I found which one won, so we can talk about that as well. So what you can see on the website, there are three main topics. One is global warming, another one is mental health, and the other one is infectious diseases, which I think are the three main global health issues of this year or 2020 as well. Mental health, a lot of problems related with the isolation and the change in lifestyle that came with the pandemic and with the lockdowns everywhere. Global warming, because it's something that it cannot be stopped, and even if there is a pandemic going, it's still problems are happening around that issue.
Of course.
And infectious diseases, I think that's self-explanatory with coronavirus, and even though it's not talked so much, but also the problem of antimicrobial resistance around the world, they are very three pressing, important, key topics to talk about. And even though the Welcome gives a lot of money for scientific endeavors and also public awareness, I think it's really cool that one of the projects they decided to do is a photo contest.
That is really cool.
And what we're seeing here is, so there were within these three categories, the photographers could either send single images or a short project that was made of like maybe 5 to 10 images as well. And there's a mix in the website. This is part of the mental health series. And they are also from all around the world, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing there, I need to put it in this maybe a bit closer because I know it is so tiny, and the photos are.
I think we're thrown out of sync again.
Are we?
Yeah.
A lot? Or?
I'm not sure what's going on.
Maybe someone can tell us.
No, I can see it here. We're out of sync. I don't know why.
You want me to bring the ice bricks?
No, it's I don't think it's not that hot.
Oh.
Anyways, I'm gonna keep trying to fix it. So what we're looking at here is we saw a bunch of photos and
so these are the project, the series projects. Actually, it's 5 photos per project. And these are about mental health, I believe, yeah. This is ADHD portraits, yeah. And we have... the next one is kind of interesting to me. It's called The Big Fish. And it's just a fish that appears in random places.
Yeah, I saw these.
Yeah, which is... yeah, so it's kind of... I was reading a little bit about it, and it's like... The fish represents the fears and the nightmares and the secrets that people are carrying with them. That's what I understood. It's
so eerie.
Yeah.
And confusing.
Right? The thing is that some of the photos of these projects, they remind me a little bit of what we were seeing yesterday on Gregory's documentary and the work of Gregory Crewdson as well, because of that eeriness and that throwing you out of place, not really knowing what's going on and what stance do you take with the photography you're looking at, right? Which is a bit what I feel with Gregory's work happens as well. So here is the infections one. So a lot about mask people outside, the representation, a lot of the workers that were working through the pandemic in different situations as well. And
but here's the thing. I'm noticing that every photo is from a different photographer, even though there are 5 groups.
Because these ones are from the singles one, I believe. And then if you go down in the page, then you find the series. Yeah, this is a series.
Okay, so these are supposed to be from the same photographer?
That's what I understand, yeah.
Okay. The next pandemic, what are they referring to here?
They are referring at what are the risks that are out there that can put us into a next pandemic after the coronavirus. So I think that's what I see, because, for example, they are showing animals that are known to have zoonotic diseases, which are diseases that are supposed to only be in animals, but they can change and then infect humans as well. And that's one of the big risks. It was at the beginning of the pandemic, talking about, these wet markets and all the different animals that are kind of mixing together, and it's a potential reservoir for diseases and a risk as well. So I think that one is about what is it that is out there that is dangerous, that is threatening us when it comes to perhaps having a new pandemic going on. I think the fire one probably is because of desertification. The animals are moving from their natural habitats to be closer to where people live, looking for food and looking for shelter. And all those increased interactions between human and animals are a risk for potential new diseases to come up.
This one is vague, for me at least. Measure and middle. What is this one about? Previously open border between... Young couples meet at a previously open border between Constance, Germany.
So I think it's about meeting places.
All right. But then look at the rest of the pictures. What is this one about? Stored bed for a makeshift hospital and exhibition hall in Hanover. Yeah. So the topic, it is not super clear to me. And this one is a dentist.
I think measure and middle, for what I see on the pictures, it could be those places where within the isolation and the lockdown, people get to be together in one way or another. Right? So, for example, the hospital beds is when you have everyone in the hospital. There's like a middle point for people to cross paths. The ones by the border is when they're meeting. When you go to the dentist or the doctor, you have no other choice. Then you are also interacting and meeting people in the middle. So I guess to me it's a bit in that way.
This one seems like it's filming or streaming of
probably a concert that is supposed to be normally with full of people around, but now it's the isolation.
Yeah. These are really cool photos, all of them.
I think they're beautiful projects. Whoever was curating and shortlisting the submitted work did a really good job. And these are part also.
These look like they're shot on film.
Yeah, they actually do.
Does it say?
I don't think there is
information about that.
No, it's more about the concept of the... And the cool thing, you can download the photos as well. So, like, you can actually see the photos how they were supposed to.
Full resolution over there. Yeah, this definitely looks like medium format.
Yeah, the aspect ratio kind of gives...
Is this a light leak?
Where?
Right here on the left.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, it looks like it's a nice project to do on film as well.
It looks like overexposed portrait.
By 5 stops.
No, like sure. 1 or 2 stops. Right. So the link for this page is in the description, right?
The last one is pretty interesting. Sorry, excuse me.
Burnt memory. Archaeology from climate
Because these
myths.
ones, they really have the vibe of really old photos
Mhm.
and medium format photos, or even
These
like
look like they're plates.
like wet plates. That's what I
Mhm.
mean, like all formats.
Really cool. So what's happening with these cameras? A
Uh,
burnt camera from the home of Kenny and Connie
So you can read about the series
Guaranius.
there in itself.
Okay, so the car fire the car with double R fire in 2018 was one of California's most devastating wildfires ever. Spreading across dry land and accelerated by a tornado, it destroyed 359 square miles of land and forced 36,000 people to evacuate, and its smoke spread across 5 states. 8 people died. Rising temperature and extreme weather events make fire like this an ever greater threat to human life. Gideon Mendel worked with Jonathan Pierdon to create a tintypes, okay,
Yeah, cool.
photos of damaged objects found in the ruins of people's homes.
Yeah, so that's within, I guess, the heating Earth topic, because you have these extreme fires and these extreme events around the world because the climate is not like it's supposed to be.
Mm.
So, tintype, yeah, it's very nice. All the melted glass and the melted objects.
Yes. All right. So, any closing notes on this?
Yeah, that for what I could read on their Instagram, the project that won the prize this year is the ADHD portraits,
Hmm?
which I think it's a cool work. Maybe it's not my favorite of the whole set, but it's definitely worth the price as well.
Yes. If you see us go out of if you see our videos disappear and come back, it's because I'm trying to,
Fix the
to fix the video because the delay is back. Right. So moving on, we do have another cool thing to talk
Yes.
about. This one is a more positive note. So what about this? It's called Accidentally Wes Anderson.
Yeah, so you know I love Wes Anderson,
Of
not only
course.
because of the colors, but also these kind of aesthetics, that the symmetry and I don't know, like just the aesthetics, the cinematography of Wes Anderson makes me happy. Just looking at those images, those shots that, as you say, it looks like they are just like shots one after the other. Well, it turns out that someone decided to make a project which is called Accidentally Wes Anderson, where people all around the world can submit their images that accidentally they look like they came out of a Wes Anderson movie. But these are actually real places. These are places that exist around the world. And they have both a book, but also a website that gets updated continuously. So it's a bit like a resource where you can go and can check not only nice photos out of themselves, they are very cool photos to look at, but if you're going to visit to a new country, you're going to go somewhere, or even you decide where you want to go based off maybe a photo spot, you can find really cool pieces in this map. So on the website you can search by the place you want to look for, or you can go to the map and just click in the different locations.
All right, where can I find the map?
Up there.
There.
Yeah.
So if I click here, it's loading up. Okay, so it's all over the world.
All over the world.
Let's see what's around us. There's 15 ones in Sweden.
I have to say I haven't checked the website. I have the book, but I haven't checked the website.
All right, let's see.
So I don't know what we're gonna find.
Right, I don't know this building.
I think the ones from the book probably are super curated, so I think the ones on the book are a bit better than some others that can be maybe found on the website.
Okay.
But
there's the ones on the homepage are
much better.
definitely more Wes. This one is.
That one is super.
But these photos, they feel like they're super corrected with the.
Yeah, there are many that either. I mean, I doubt they're taken with a technical camera and with a lot of movements. Probably it's correction on Photoshop, which you can do like quite okay.
Also, I highly doubt that this photo was taken where it's tugged.
Can I see it bigger? Yeah,
Yeah.
probably not. I think because it's a train, they tag the station, but
Yeah.
it's somewhere in between. And I actually know this train. It's the train that goes to Gothenburg.
Yeah. But like this field is not right
Yeah.
here.
No. Definitely not.
And this is the Tunnelbana, the old one.
Yeah, this one is actually a very similar piece of this is for sale in one of the Swedish photo stores to buy prints. I don't know if
Right.
it's from the same one. I think they might have submitted.
This area is cool. Let's see what do they have here. Another
Train.
tram. This
Tram,
is the
yeah.
tram, the old one. And what do we have here? Gröna Lund. Yeah, cool photos. Let's go back. So you can check the map. You can check.
And you can go to your favorite country, your favorite city.
Let's see in the city where we are.
There's nothing in Uppsala. We should go ahead and try to find some.
Yeah.
I really
Is this
suggest
Västerås?
everyone.
Let's see. Yeah, it is Västerås. Cool.
Is that the one in front of the...
Yeah, this is the one in the lake. They have a bunch of them. They have like I think it's a hotel, or kind of like an Airbnb type of situation. So it's like a single apartment that you can rent.
Oh.
And it's half submerged underwater.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a bunch of these in the north. A lot of places where you can be like underwater or on the water. So yeah, check out the map if you want to see cool things around you. How do I go back to the main page?
Up.
Like this.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you want me to guide me through this
You can
website?
actually... Yeah, so you can check by colors, the collections by different colors, or by on the rails, hidden wonders, facades. There's a lot of architectural photography, obviously. A lot of symmetry, super symmetric shots, which are really, really cool.
Definitely heavy Wes Anderson vibes.
That's the whole point. So if you take a photo that you really think is like, oh, this looks like taken out of a Wes Anderson movie, I would highly suggest just submit it to this website. The photographer still keeps the rights, and if they choose it to put it in a book, they might even give some maybe publishing rights or something. I'm not sure how it goes. But how cool it would be to have your photo in a book that it's called accidentally Wes Anderson.
It is very cool. These are weird. Like, why? What is this thing doing here?
What is the collection called?
Sotheby's.
I guess because of some of the movies.
So is it like
I don't remember now.
stuff from the movies? No, because this is like an auction house.
Or that it reminds of the movies, you know, like the royalty, people with money.
Definitely some cool photos.
The ones by the beach, they are really cool, of like beach little houses or beach changing rooms.
Where is it?
I mean, I just found them when I was like browsing or also looking through the book as well.
There's a lot more.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ones. There's like thousands of photographers that have submitted work, so it's...
But I'm saying there's more collections.
Yeah,
if you click there.
Theaters are really cool.
Let's see.
I feel like there's so many of the trendy, you know, Instagram and Reddit photography that kind of actually could fit really nicely in this website as well.
Right. Oh, this one is so cool.
The pink buildings with the blue skies, also very, very undersea.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of colorful buildings, pink and other.
A lot of facades, a lot of theaters facades.
These are so cool. Right.
And I think you can really get lost in it. The book is really cool because
so it's an ongoing project.
It's an ongoing project. You can submit your photos if you want. The book, I think, I don't remember when it was published, but I think perhaps a couple of years ago. Let me see if I can check it out. No, 2020, last year. The book is from last year. And it's really cool because it's also organized by the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you have, you know, United States and Canada, Latin America, Central, Western Europe, United Kingdom, Northern Europe, Southern and Eastern Europe, Middle East, Asia, Oceania, and Antarctica.
Mm-hmm.
Of all places. There is one photo from Antarctica, actually.
Right.
It's really cool.
So let me see if I can do this. Oh, forget about it. I'm not gonna try to do it. All right. So yeah, so you can still submit if you're interested in, if you have photos that you think will fit. Where do you submit?
You go
Here.
up, yeah, it
And
says
then
submit.
you click submit a photo.
Yeah, and then you put your information.
And here is where you do it. And it could be a part of this cool project.
Which, yeah, it's really nice. And I think anyone that, if you like the aesthetics of Wes Anderson, go to the website and get lost for a little while and maybe even get the book, which could be a nice touch for the collection.
Mm-hmm.
Are we still out of sync?
Yeah, we are. I'm really, I'm completely out of the zone right now because I'm freaking out about this. I'm going to try to unplug it again and plug it back in and see if it fixes it. It doesn't fix it. I don't know why is this happening. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. And it's internal, so it's not going from OBS to YouTube.
And then getting the
It's
sync.
within
OBS?
It's within OBS. And I have no idea why it's happening because I restarted my computer right before we go online. But yeah, sometimes it's like that. Maybe we can start talking a little bit about Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully, while you're telling us about Gregory, I can fix this somehow.
Do you think it has a solution?
I don't think it has a solution. Oops.
All right. So the photographer we're gonna talk about today, it's still a current photographer. So we are not gonna talk about someone that has done work half a century ago. He was born in the 60s and he has done mainly his work starting in the 90s, mid 90s up to today. He's still working. And as Jimmy mentioned, we looked into this photographer because CM suggests that we look at the documentary and then look a little bit more about the work that he has done. I think I had seen a couple of photos from him somewhere, maybe in a collective of photos or in some newspaper article or something like that. I don't really remember the details, or I don't remember looking so much into it, because with all the work and all the praise that these kind of photos can have, it's not really my cup of tea. So I guess whenever I came across it, it was just like, yeah, it's a photographer, yeah, it's a very big print or whatever, or a very big photo, but I didn't put more attention to it. But yesterday, looking through the documentary and learning a little bit more about how he works and seeing this behind the scenes, which is the whole documentary about how he made one particular project of the projects that he has done through his life. Maybe not that I think different about his photography, but I can appreciate that the work that goes into making such images is crazy, like just downright crazy. And I don't know if I read right, but he's known for being one of the most detailed photographers, in the sense that he really pre-produces absolutely everything to take every image. And every image, unless the project is about taking photos outside and being not produced, the images that he presents are highly produced. Pre-produced, produced during the moment of taking the photo, and post-produced. So all the production, it's heavily done to create these images. And the idea is that each of these images, in it of themselves, are a whole story. It's a moment in between moments, like he says, but it opens the possibility for 1,000 ideas of what was happening before, what is the reason that what you're seeing in front of your eyes, and where that might be headed. And that's how he actually thinks about his photography and what he wants his photography to be. He's on the interviews I have read, he's always about, I want the viewer to create their own stories. I want the viewer to wonder what's happening, why the subjects in the images are the way they are, and just make up their own stories of where is it going, or the whole reason for that imaging system. He doesn't really have an agenda, although there are some overarching themes within each of the projects that he's kind of exploring, either the connection of nature with the human nature, the secrets that the people have within themselves and carry day in and day out, and how they consume them. Or there was another series which was about the alienation and the desire that people might have within them. So a lot about the human condition, I would say. Therefore, the majority of his photos have human subjects in them.
Mm-hmm.
And
I want to say something.
Sure.
While I'm flipping through photos, you might see that this will disappear, and it's because there's a lot of nudity in some of the photos, and because we're on YouTube, I'm trying not to, show them. So it's just me. I had an accident on the previous photo.
Okay.
But it's just me doing this, making sure the next photo is safe, and then I will display it again. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, because if you see it flashing in and out, you know what's going on. And also I want to say something. These photos are huge. Like, they're all, at least most of the ones that we saw in the what's it called?
Beneath the Roses project, yeah.
At least all of these were shot on 8x10 film.
Yes.
And they seem to be like getting maximum focus, so like they're shooting with a very tight aperture, and probably utilizing some tilting and whatever.
And also a lot of stitching. Like I read that he does a lot of stitching as well.
Also in the documentary, they talked about it openly. It's that each photo could be comprised of 50 negatives. They shoot 40 to 50 sheets of film to make a single photo. And they show you in the documentary how they're stitching it all together. So I don't know if we're going to see that photo. Maybe I'll talk about it when we get to it. I want to say this, though, you were saying that you've seen some of those photos and you're not sure where you've seen them before. I remember when I seen the first work of Gregory, and it was a video by Nick Carver on YouTube. He was talking about, it's one of my favorite videos on YouTube. Well, basically Nick is ranting and losing his mind over editing. And if you're a fan of you're keeping up with Nick's work, you know that he doesn't edit his photos. And I was struggling a lot about this whole thing, right? And I understand why you would want to do it like Nick does it, and why you would want to do it like Gregory does it. And even Nick in his video makes an exception where he's talking about, he gives Gregory as an example, and he shows, I think, the previous photo as one of the examples that he shows in the video. I remember this exact one. And so this photo, even though to you it could be, it looks like you just walked into a room and it was like that, and then you snapped a photo, and and then they noticed you, or something else happened, or whatever. But the cool thing about Gregory's work is that even for a photo like this, there's so much that went on to capture this photo. So everything is intentional. Literally, like it's
everything.
A lot of these photos on at least Beneath the Roses collection is basically took, every single photo would cost the same production value as an indie movie. So they would have cranes, super like big lights, airy skylights, whatever they're called,
they were
hanging
like
from a
half
crane.
a mile away from the scene. It's crazy.
It looks like, it feels like it's a beam of sunlight or something like that. Most of the photos would have to be shot on like the dusk, twilight hours, so the lights will be effective.
Otherwise, it would be too weak compared to the sun.
To the sunlight.
Anything.
A lot of the times they had to close the roads to get some of the photos.
It's crazy. It's absolutely insane. It's not is insane in the sense that it's not typical to have that kind of work for photography, where everything is calculated, is decided down to the fold of this blanket on top of this bed. And many of the outside ones, of course, they are outside for real, but many of the inside shots that you see, they are not, they are on set. They are not really a home. They made the home. They, for example, a lot of they have buys from the 70s. Every object that you find that is from the 70s is carefully curated. It's decided to be in the place where it is and how it is. The attention to detail is commendable, even if you personally might not enjoy that kind of photography, which is super stage. It's crazy work.
This photo, I think, is the last photo they talk about in the production. This was the last one to be shot in the Beneath the Roses. And actually the documentary title makes a cameo here in this one, Brief Encounters. So this was it was a snowy day, and they managed to talk to the what do you call it, like the
town hall, I guess,
whoever organizes the town. The mayor or something, I don't know, they talked to, and they were able to secure a road closure because this is like a main street in that town, and there's a theater right here, and they basically closed this road for a few hours. The day before that, they went and they set up all the lightings and everything. They even cut down some street signs. So like literally with a saw, they would cut down some street signs to position the camera where they want it to be, because where the camera is, I think there was a street sign blocking the view.
And there was also one of these not trespassing, not littering,
like a
sign on one of the light posts, and they took that away also.
Yeah, they took it down. This car was actually stationary, even though it feels like it's moving. The person inside the car is an actor. This person also is an actor, and this woman also is an actor. They had to reposition the table last minute. They had to bring her some food, put it there. And again, you're looking at this, even with all this detail, this is nothing compared to what the full resolution of the image would be, because I don't know if you've seen any drum scans of large format photos, but the amount of detail that you can pull out of an image is insane. I've seen there's a video on YouTube. You can just Google drum scan. There's a guy who shows you how much detail there is in a 4x5 sheet, and this is an 8x10. So for the uninitiated, I would say that imagine this as a complete roll of 35 millimeter film. So this is exactly what it is. If you take 36 pictures of 35 millimeter, you can lay them all within this one picture. That's how much detail you have here. So imagine it. Split this single image to 36 frames. I think this is a crop because the aspect ratio is not exactly 8x10, but still, you're still super close. It's crazy. And also, here in the snow, if you watch in the documentary, there was a truck that came from last minute, like right before they were about to shoot. A truck came and put some tracks in the snow. So I see them start to shovel snow from the side outside the frame and put it in the tracks.
It's crazy.
And then they fixed the rest of it in post.
Actually, for this particular project, he really, really wanted to have that theatrical and cinematic feeling. So for this project, these are the biggest prints he ever made for a photography exhibition. And they are about 2 meters wide or something like that. It's crazy big.
When we were watching, I was looking at those prints and I was thinking they're too small.
Yes, should be bigger. Should be like a whole side of a room. So you
go into a room and it's the full wall basically is the picture.
It would be so nice, like a room where all the sides are black, and then you get in, and what you see in front of you is this thing. This place, you basically are transported in time and space, and you're put there.
It's like walking into like a movie theater that is on pause, basically.
Yeah,
that's what you're imagining.
Can you imagine also that the room would give you some other like vibes or being in such a place, like through smells or through cold wind or something like that. That should be like a crazy experience.
Right. Don't give away your ideas. Maybe that's your next project.
It's a bit like 4D cinema, right? When they splash water in your face as you go.
I've never been in one of those.
I went on one that the seats were moving, and they also had this like kind of cable that will go around, and it will touch your feet when something will come. It was kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at this. It's so crazy.
And to be honest, now that you mention some of the work of Nick Carver, it reminds me of work of this. It's just that it's diametrically opposite, because Nick wants to really capture the moment where it sits there without nothing being changed. And for that, for example, watch the last video he uploaded, his quest to take this photo of this tire store. It's so amazing. He really wants to not interfere at all with what's happening and still capture the America's soul, in a sense. And Gregory here, what he does is create his idea and his thoughts of America through completely made up situations. But still, they do make people go back to something that they feel, something that they can recognize, even though they are completely made up situations. Which it's
he does
interesting.
Definitely has somewhat of a message in his work.
Yeah.
It's not just documenting what's there, it's telling the story of what's this. It's a different thing.
And also pushing for a thought and for a reaction. I find like his work it really hopes for creating a turmoil of the person that is looking at the photograph. It is aiming at having some emotional connection with the viewer.
Yeah.
Every photo.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like I don't want to spoil the documentary if you're planning to watch it, but you will get you will get it from him. Really, what's the message here? What's the idea behind these photos? The moments that he's creating, the subjects, and his personal life, what he's going through, and maybe what's the drive behind these different projects as well. But what I want, so one of the things that were curious while we were arguing about this, was the fact that when the photos are being captured, he's not the one triggering the shutter.
Yeah.
That's how crazy these sets are. Basically, what he's doing, he's standing like 2 feet away from the camera, and he's yelling at people. Imagine a movie director.
Yeah, he looks like a movie director. It's just that it's a 1 second movie. Let's
Exactly.
say it's 1 second movie.
Often it's 1 second because they have to do long exposures because of the shutter speed. I guess. I think because of the aperture. I can't speak. But it's so cool. Like there's basically people standing behind the camera with a bunch of film loaders and switching them out while he's standing over there, and he's like, in position, hold, and then action or something like that.
Yeah, hold is when then it happens.
Yeah, it says hold, and everybody has to like completely freeze, and then they take the photo, they take a break,
and that 50 times.
Yeah, and they do it like 50 times. And then it goes to editors who will like basically refine everything, and then he will come in and look at it and be like, okay, I really want to see that baby photo.
It's
this one is cool. This one was done on a soundstage.
This is from the Twilight series.
Right. And it's a recreation of a famous painting.
Ophelia.
Right.
Yeah. Which is, it's the division between the living, the dead, the day, the night. It's a very exactly that in between. And I think the whole Twilight series is looking into what happens behind doors when the sun goes down. That's why it's called Twilight. What are people into? What are their secrets? What are their stories? There are a couple of images that are pretty powerful in that.
They also talk about this in the documentary where like something about the Twilight where there's a shift in human life from the public to the private. So during the day, you're outside, you're at work, you're putting yourself out there. People know where you are. People know what you're doing because you're at work. You're seen, and then, in the evening you go home, and everybody goes home, and that's where secrets live. Really cool idea, really cool concept of making photos. When you're watching the documentary, you see that he's working with writers, and they write scripts. They make what do you call them? Uh,
Storyboards,
a storyboard. So
Mhm.
basically, they draw the whole scene, they imagine
how
the
they
whole
want
scene.
it. Yeah.
And you were mentioning this earlier, the props that they're using. Like for example, let's say this watch, this clock on a desk on a bookshelf. This clock right here, or this vase, or this lamp. They could have chosen them from like 50 different ones that looks the same, and you'd be like, "This is the one that I want. This one is too much. This one is too little." And then he would go through so many different props to pick every one. So like this phone right here, this lamp, everything is
I
so
mean,
intentional.
I feel like that it's very important if you want to create the right mood, if you want to create the right atmosphere and ambience. Because I realize, for example, the TV series or the movies that are or ought to create other times,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that really make it well, the ones that for me I believe they really follow the same approach, which is they're using real objects. For example, I'm thinking about Chernobyl, for Chernobyl TV series.
Mm-hmm.
They went to flea markets, they went to old homes, everything that you see, the clothes, the watches, the glasses that the people are wearing, they're actually from those years. Like everything is from the time where it was supposed to be. And I know that people might say, but nowadays we can also just recreate things, just fabricate them or make them. But I don't think it's the same. I don't think then on the total of putting the things together you are getting the same result. I don't think so. I think if going to the source and getting these props really from the time where they were, it also brings, I don't know, so sort of a spirit or soul to the image or to the movie or to whatever you are creating.
And I think even if it doesn't do that, I think it puts you on a specific journey to like maybe stumbling upon something else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe because sometimes you have an idea to do something, and as you're going about doing whatever you imagined, you come across a lot of other things that then will influence your end result, and you will learn a lot through the journey. So I think going the extra mile to get real props, like something from, as you said, from thrift stores or whatever, to get authentic things instead of remaking them. I think that's the way I would do it if I would have to do something like that, because then you would stumble upon other stories. You would meet people, you would talk to people. I don't know what you do, but maybe nothing of that happens, but maybe it will as well. So
yeah, and also I guess intrinsic stories of the things that you will use as well, like might prompt you for further projects or further ideas, or it just like inspire you in a way. It's not the same thing that going to a store and buying a 70s looking clock than going down to the thrift store getting this 70s clock that was in someone's home for that long, that meant something to someone. It's just a different story altogether.
yeah, especially when it's that curated, that like especially with that you're putting so much attention to every single detail in those images.
See, I'm saying the previous one, the one with the woman, very much inspired by David Lynch, Blue Velvet, and indeed, he's heavily inspired by movie directors and movies, Alfred Hitchcock, David Lynch, The Close Encounters of the Third Phase, which is Spielberg's
Or
movie.
Third Kind.
Of the Third Kind. Sorry, it's because I'm mixing the Spanish name, which is called Encuentros en la Tercera Fase. I don't know why. It's a different translation many times. And that's why he also decided on Brief Encounters. And when he saw that movie theater with that title as well, it really spoke to him.
This one, again, because of the way they're uploaded to this website, they're not full resolution.
Yeah.
But I want you to imagine that this one would be super crisp, even if you zoom in harder than this. So, like, there's a woman in the car, and then there's nobody in the driver's seat, and it's just right there in the middle of the road, and the driver has left the vehicle right there, and you can see her face in the original photo, and she had to put on like she had to act for this photo.
That's what I also saw pretty much in the documentary, that he really wants the actors, like we can call them the actors,
Mhm.
to get into their role, to express these emotions. And I do feel like the majority of the subjects in Gregory's photos are heavily in an emotional state.
Mhm.
It's like the thoughts, the feelings are weighing on them, the majority of the subjects.
Yeah, I mean, look at this one.
Yeah, this one, for example, it tries to represent, that the struggle. Somehow she really loved her garden, and he wanted to bring it closer to her, and then she struggled throughout bringing these roses buds into the bed with her, and she is holding them with this very careful stance of like, I really care for this is very important to me, but it's dying, it's going away from me, sort of thing. That's what I get from this.
It's cool how you got that from it. I got nothing, to be honest with you.
I read about it.
Oh. I
And then after I read, but that's the thing.
I
Like,
just felt like to me, it's like, like from a movie, it feels like, imagine that you're with someone, your partner, and they got shot or stabbed or something, and they're bleeding, and then you drag them all the way here, but then they didn't make it, and you're sitting there with the remains,
yeah.
sad. I don't know how that's different than what you said.
It's not different. It's exactly the same. It's
It felt different, though.
something that she really loves, that she brought with her, that she's caring for, that she really would like to have with her, but it's going away.
Yeah,
Which is basically the same thing, be it roses or be it a person, right?
that's true. These also are, all of them right now we're watching, are from the collection Beneath the Roses.
Mm-hmm.
I think we saw all of them that are here.
Mhm.
I think they made 50 images for this project.
Yeah.
I don't know where you can find all of them.
I think it has to. I don't think you can find them online. I try. I think it's only up for either catalogs, or you go and see the photos
In a
live
gallery.
in a gallery.
Right. But in the documentary itself, there's a lot more that you can look. And you can see them full resolution where they zoom in really close.
I think the baby one, I saw it in a website somewhere, so we might come across it.
Well, it should have been here because this is Beneath the Roses.
Yeah, but I think it might be. There's one that is Untitled. I think it's in that one. If you go to that one. Sorry for the blank. So there's quite a lot of nudity.
Yeah. All right.
But I believe it's there.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, I found it.
Yeah.
So this one also, you can see it in the documentary.
This was inspired by the movie Psycho from Hitchcock, he said, right?
Yeah.
I think.
And this one again is a movie set.
Yeah.
Where they had to bring the snow from somewhere. Everything is. So basically, this whole thing, this door, it's there. What's behind the door is there, but it's
carefully placed so it sees the way.
No, but also you see in the editing.
Yeah,
it's
that's
from
true.
a different exposure where it's brighter than.
It's a bit of a HDR thing,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
So it's plastered in this part. The baby.
The amount of compositing is.
Yeah. The baby is also plastered in. Different than the mother, because the baby was moving. And they had to wait for like 2 hours for the baby to fall asleep.
They had to put a heated blanket underneath that blanket for the baby to finally feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's so cool, this photo, how they did it. And this is actual a real baby that is 2 weeks old, and that's the baby's mother. Really cool photo.
She was actually not an actor or anything. She had never acted before or been taken a photograph like this.
Most of the people in his
some are actors. Some are actually actors. And there's one project where he actually wanted only close people to him. So those ones were also amateur, sort of speak.
Right. This collection is quite cool. Let's see. Again, you will see a lot of similar, like it's all following under the same theme, it feels to me. It's this suburban setting with a lot of despair.
Yeah, this pair is it's one photo that kind of unites it all. Actually, while I was reading about his work, came across the Uncanny again.
Mm-hmm.
And this time I'm like, I'm not letting it pass. I'm gonna deeply read about this, what it is, what does it mean, and then it actually was much easier than I thought. So the Uncanny, it's a feeling that we get when we are experiencing something that a priori or at the first look is something familiar. It's something that we should be used to, something that should not, give us any trouble into understanding. But there is something about it that makes us wary of it and makes us take a distance and to say there is something here that makes me feel unsettled. That's the uncanny, is that this is a very big part of similarity to something that is very familiar to us, yet there is something that doesn't add up, that doesn't match, that is out of place, out of space, out of time, something. And the main example that is given to explain the uncanny is the feeling that people get when they are in front of a humanoid robot, which is very similar to a human. There's even like flesh-like material. They imitate gestures like blinking and sighing and just like very human-like. It's familiar, it should be, but there's still something that is not according to how it should be, which is that they are not really humans. And this is what is called the valley of the uncanny. It's like when
The
something
uncanny
is just
valley.
get so...
I think there was a podcast about Westworld
Yeah, right? So
that was
Westworld is...
called Uncanny Valley
So
or something like that.
Westworld is exactly the epitome of the uncanny, which is... It's supposed to be familiar. It's supposed to be something we can deal with, and yet there's something there. So Gregory is very much into trying to represent this uncanny feeling in his images. They are familiar settings, towns where, things are normal, yet the use of the lighting, the position of the subjects in the framing and the compositions makes us feel like something else is going on, something that we cannot really understand, and it might even be dangerous, or it might be scary, or it might be an enigma that we cannot resolve. Those kind of feelings all together.
These photos, the photos that we're looking at now, are the ones from Italy, right?
Yeah, if
I
it's
think so.
called that's the project
Sanctuary.
called Sanctuary in 2009. So after the project that we saw, the 2002-2008 Beneath the Roses, he was very heavily involved in this for many years, creating this artwork. He decided to take a trip outside of the US, and this is the first and only work he has done outside the US. He went to Rome, and he was allowed to visit this cinema studio setup that was used long time ago, that was completely abandoned, and is full of these buildings.
I think that's where they filmed the is that what are they called, spaghetti westerns?
Well, the spaghetti westerns were done in the south of Spain, actually.
All right.
Which we also have similar things to this, which are these movie studios.
Are you sure they weren't done here?
I think the majority were either Italy, because they were Italian directors, or south of Spain, because it was cheaper. Here. But I'm not sure Rome, because at least the vibe I get there is more from like movies of Roman times.
Oh yeah, that's
more
true.
Than the Western. So spaghetti westerns, it's Italy, but I guess maybe more south.
Okay.
And then south of Spain as well. Maybe sometimes I can find someone that does photography job there. It would be cool to see.
These are really cool. Which also, here's the thing. If you're a photographer and you want to do something similar, I have a tip for you that I stumbled upon yesterday. And it's in China, so I have to go to China. But there's apparently the city in China. I think you can Google it. But I can't remember the name right now. It's not a complete city. It's more like two districts. What do you call them? Like urban districts.
Yeah.
That were basically built or started to be built sometime recently. They built everything, like a bunch of residential buildings, bunch of shopping malls, a huge area. And during the development of this project, the company that was doing it was under investigation. became under
Mhm.
investigation for some financial fraud or whatever. And because of that, the stock price dipped too low, and then they couldn't afford to finish the project, and they filed bankruptcy.
Mhm.
And now you have this ghost town, basically,
It's
two
crazy.
complete urban districts that
Like
are
with
empty.
everything, like there are skyscrapers, there are smaller buildings, there are pools, there are cars inside that have been abandoned. It looks insane. It's so cool. And actually what it remind me a little bit of Vegas, because
Mhm.
what they try to do is to recreate the architecture and the feeling of European cities and
Yeah,
other
there was a
places.
building that looks like the Kremlin
Yeah, and there
with
was,
with
yes, like the Russian Orthodox churches, and then there's other part that was supposed to be southern Italy with these Italian houses. So it's like you have all these different vibes all within the same area and all decaying, which is really cool.
crazy. It's really cool. So it's kind of, it has like these vibes, but I think on a much bigger scale.
Much bigger. And this actually is one of the few projects that he has done on digital,
Mm-hmm.
because he normally works on film.
Yeah.
And what we read online is that he mostly worked with Portra 100 and C when
Yeah.
it used to exist. I don't
Mhm.
know now what he's doing. And this one actually was digital. And this one he calls himself the most documentary photography project that he has done.
Mhm.
So he didn't involve any crew. He didn't involve artificial lighting. It was all
They just showed up and
just
took
showed
pictures.
up
I
and
mean,
took
in the
pictures.
documentary, we see some of these photos. There were like at least 3-4 guys behind the camera, but still. And if I remember correctly, because I got a glimpse of the camera they were using, and I know you guys love talking about gear. I think it was a medium format technical camera, so it was using large format lenses, but it had a medium format digital back on the
Mhm.
back side of it.
I wouldn't expect any less of someone
Yeah.
that want to take like huge pictures. Even though I think this project for him it was meant to be printed in small format, more like snapshots of
Mhm.
sorts. He was saying.
So this is the next one that was done between January and March of 2016, and it's called Cathedral of Pines.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we've seen some of those images earlier because I was looking through the homepage.
Yeah, so it was exhibited in 2016. It was shot between 2013 and 2014. So it took
Alright.
like 2 years to prepare the whole show and the whole exhibition. And this one explores the ideas of isolation
Mhm.
and how humans might behave in a desolate natural environment. The subjects appears traumatized by mysterious events or suspended in a fugue state.
Mhm.
So that's kind of like the tagline of the project. And for this one, he really wanted to be something intimate. He shot in around just one town, Massachusetts, where he had some, like he grew up around that town or something like that. And he also, this is the one that he used mostly known people to him as the subjects.
So cool. I really like these shots with from indoors to outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Something about those shots really, and the lighting is really
The
nice.
light is masterful work. The light, I mean, he has with him a huge crew of people that only work with light on movie studios. So it's continuous light. They are very careful, and even though the light is set up perfectly for what they are looking for, still different exposures are needed, and then stitch it together and make this overall crazy image that he makes.
It's so beautiful.
So I guess that one, it's in winter. There's a lot of nudity.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I keep.
It's good that you do like that.
Yeah, because of the YouTube thingies. But again, if you don't mind looking at these photos, the link is in the description. Go and look at them. You can probably zoom in at your will and read more about them if you're interested. I like the utilizations of mirrors as well in some of the shots.
Yeah, because it's like, to me, he utilizes that to show you even more of the secrets of what he's revealing throughout.
Mm.
So there's a couple of pictures, I don't know if it's here, where you can see someone in a bed, but then only through the mirror you can see what's going on next to them because of how the composition is made.
So much detail everywhere.
And imagine about all these. I'm sure all these broken things, they were broken on purpose.
Yeah.
For that specific shot. I remember in the other one, the baby with the snow, how they were putting like white paint around the glass to look at it if it was like frozen because it was snowing outside.
Yeah.
Which is like so much detail.
Redemption Center.
Yeah.
What is that? What is the Redemption Center?
The Redemption Center, I guess, is a place where you go to redeem your sins. In this particular project, is this from the Cathedral of Pines?
This one is
from
the
the
next
Eclipse
project.
of Moths?
This is the last one according to your
my notes.
chronological notes.
Yes. It was shot between 2018 and 2019 and is the last exhibition that has been mounted of his work.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, it's called Eclipse of Moths because this is actually what happens when you have a light in summer and you have a ton of moths that come and they gather around the light. That's called an eclipse of moths because it's kind of eclipsing the light coming from the bulb. And all these photos revolve around light or light posts where they are either illuminating, bringing light to the situation, or even some of the images it feels like the light is calling the subject.
Mm-hmm.
If you pay attention to how they are like positioned and where they are looking at, it's like the subjects are drawn to the street lamps, almost as if the light is like a kind of force that is calling them.
So much detail. I really enjoy zooming in and just scrolling around. At first glance, I didn't notice this woman up here.
Right? No, it's.
But then you have to zoom in and see. Somebody was talking in a documentary about how people behave in the exhibitions of Gregory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was I don't remember who the woman was, but she was saying that I've never seen anybody spend so much time like they do in front of Gregory's photos.
Excuse me. As you said at the beginning, when we started watching the documentary, another very well-known photography that does hugely staged photographs is David Lachapelle. David Lachapelle. And I've been in one of his exhibitions here in Stockholm, and it's true. There's so much going on in his pictures, and his pictures are much less natural, if one can say, than these pictures. These, at least, as I say, they are images that you can feel and relate to. More or less what's going on. There is this nature. There is these buildings.
It's a different thing because what this guy feels to me is like he's doing. That's why, like, you noticed, like, some of these photos, they feel similar to Nick's photos, even though Nick is not editing anything. He just wants to capture a single moment that exists there at some point. But if you watch his videos and you see how he makes his photos, he's very selective about the moment. So he would visit the same location many times across multiple months and then, just wait for the exact right moment when it comes to the amount of clouds in the sky, the time of the day, rain, no rain, are there signs in the street,
cars around,
is there anybody parked, not parked. So he almost wants to create the scene or the moment, but instead of affecting it, he's just waiting for it to happen naturally.
Yeah.
What the Gregory feels to me like he's doing, in contrast with the David Lachapelle photos, is that he's trying to create a moment that he imagined that it occurred at some point, that it will occur, it will be there at some point, but it's so hard to come by and to be able to capture it with such detail. So he's interfering and he's recreating it or creating it, but he's recreating it from imagination, but it's not so far from reality when it comes to imagination. While when you look at least one photo that I remember, I'm not very familiar with David Lachapelle's work, just because it doesn't really suits my taste, and it's the colors. Sometimes it's too colorful, too flashy.
It's too everything. It's
over
one
the
thing
top.
is too. It's over the top on everything. Production, colors, editing, everything.
The one that I remember is the cover of a famous rapper. I can't remember the name right now.
Trevor
Something Scott, Trevor Scott.
Travis Scott.
Travis Scott.
Yeah.
There's two versions, I think, of that same photo. One is
Day and night. Mm-hmm.
day and night, and the difference of the but and that place, like, is just, the whole thing is imaginary.
Yeah.
You know, everything about it is over the top.
It's like a different world
Yeah,
altogether.
it's like a dream world.
Yeah.
Basically, it feels like what something that you would see in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
So it has real elements in it, but nothing makes any sense. This to me makes a lot of sense. Like,
Yeah.
I could imagine something that led up to this moment, which is really cool, and I kind of dig it for that reason. Even though it's not real, it feels real.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, the Uncanny. That he really
Yeah.
puts an effort that you get a familiar feeling of it, and within that familiarity there are elements of surprise, of mystery, of enigma, and all these things that make you think of a story rather than just, oh yeah, I was there. It doesn't really matter, you know. There is something going on, something happened before, something is gonna happen after. There's a reason for that particular moment in time.
So I'm sorry I dropped the conversation because
It's
I'm
alright.
just looking at if I'm missing anything here in the photo. Yeah. What do you guys think? The chat is awfully quiet today.
Maybe they are watching the movie, no, the photo as well. Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny because he apparently goes over and over to certain towns.
Mhm.
He photographs on those towns, and in the documentary there was this guy who, like, he recognizes him and he's like, yeah, you are the closest to a historian we have around here, because he
Oh,
goes
yeah.
and he just photographs the town over and over again from different angles, different streets.
That was a cool moment.
Yeah. Did you see, like, the majority of his traffic light posts are always in orange?
In yellow.
Yeah.
I wonder, yeah, that's, I think, sends a message somehow.
Right?
That is, like, yellow, it's neither go or stop, it's limbo.
It's limbo is actually another of the main topics and themes in his photography.
Yeah. It's so cool. The deeper you dive into his photos, like, on the surface, you could think that it's kind of boring, you know. And when we were looking for information about what kind of film he was shooting on yesterday,
Yeah.
Eva came across some comments on the internet saying, this, what, do you remember what the exact
Yeah,
comment
someone
was?
said, like, can we please spell boring, at least in my honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I see how you could, on the surface, perceive it that way. Yeah, I even me personally, in the beginning of the documentary, I kind of felt bored in the beginning. Something about the documentary being too close to the photographer
him.
they're documenting kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I didn't want to be so critical, or, you know, I wanted to enjoy it.
Mhm.
So I did, and the more I watched, the more I learned. And now, like, dissecting these photos here with you guys, because I didn't look at the website before we go live. So a lot of these photos I'm seeing for the first time, and I'm starting to pick up these themes, and it's starting to, go up in cool value to me.
Yeah,
If that's the thing.
for my side, as I said, it might not be, the type of photography I would choose to either consume, if one can say that, or how you say, like, enjoy by looking at them, just because of how it looks. Like, no background, nothing known about it. Just give me this photo, I will look at it and I will say, like, yeah. But knowing that it's actually nothing, that it's real, kind of takes value away from what I enjoy in a photography. And I much prefer to maybe look at photographs that are maybe not as impactful in terms of lighting and composition, which these ones are crazy good at that, but they mean more to me because they represent real moments in time, real people that were going through things. Because to me, a lot of the value and the power of photography is that it's a way to stop the time that really exists.
Mm-hmm.
But the more I got to know about how he works behind the scenes, which is, insane, and all these intentions with the photography, and of course I enjoy movies as well, which majority of the time are not real. They are made up stories.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe I'll be more open or lenient to also enjoy this kind of photography for its own right and its own value, which of course you cannot say there is extreme value in these photographs, both in the storytelling mode and what they're trying to achieve with the public and what they're telling, but also technically speaking, they are masterpieces to be able to create an image like that.
For sure.
And it's to me, what also makes me really happy is that there is people out there willing to finance these kind of projects.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point that you bring up, is the way that you're okay, suspending belief to enjoy a movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories feel so real. You get attached to these characters. A lot of the actors, for example, who would do sitcoms or, series that would span many years, they struggle later to be accepted as a different character. Like if, I don't know, maybe like
people from Friends,
or Ross and Rachel will always be Ross and Rachel. I think what's her name, Jennifer Aniston, kind of managed to exit that. Like, now she's Jennifer Aniston because she worked a lot and she did a lot of different roles. But I think the actor who played Ross didn't work as much, or like the other actors.
Joey as well, Chandler.
They're still the people from Friends. You know what I mean? So it's where was I going with this? Yeah, so the same way we're okay suspending belief in that way. I really enjoy these photos in the same way. So I enjoy these photos as if it was a movie in a way. And I appreciate, as you said, the amount of production that goes into it. Like, I think that's very important. It sends a really good message that it makes a difference to put in the extra effort, meaning that you can put together a similar image kind of by photoshopping everything and whatever, and plastering everything though. And even though this one has plastering, like, I'm assuming, because I know they have the crane lights, and I mean, looking at this dude over here
with the lights,
and then when I look at him, he brings the fact that these other two also, they look lit up separately, like they're something about them pop more than the rest of the image. And I'm sure they had the lights, the beam lights lighting them up, but then you don't see any shadows. So I'm thinking maybe they took an exposure without the lights or the street. And that's like the base exposure to fill in whatever. And then they took another exposure and these guys are plastered in from different ones. But that's a lot of work. And it's a lot of intentionality in the, but then what kind of bugs me is that when you just, take a photo and remove a light post or something, and
this is all thought before the image is done. I think that also has value to it.
It's different. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. Do whatever you want. Again, like, I can't stop you from doing whatever. And I can't, even if I say it's wrong, it doesn't mean that I'm right. But, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It just feels lazy to me. It just feels something weird. Like, it doesn't feel right to me. It's just, and for some reason you can tell, like, these photos that I'm talking about, that are over edited, that are lazily edited, that is like just hyped up with like over the top editing in a way that just like, whenever you see it, like, what am I looking at? There's so many contrasting colors and different stuff. Bless you.
Thank you.
It's just, I mean, this photo had way more work done than any of those photos that I see on Instagram, on like popular on social media or whatever, TikTok photographers and all that stuff. This photo is 10 times edited more than those photos, and somehow it feels more natural than anything than that. You know what I mean? So if you want to edit your photos, learn from this guy.
It's like good work. Actually, I also went to use the Instagram, and one of the latest photos posted on the Instagram, it reminded me so much of a photo you took last summer. Like, if you have, after we finish with this, we can go to the Instagram and you can check
Now
it
I'm
out.
curious.
Yeah, I think you're gonna know.
What are those?
These are from the bus, or there was a truck that is on fire on the side. So I think these were part of either the bus or something.
Are you referring to a different image?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was thinking about the other one. No.
No.
I think these are roadblocks.
They kind of look like
Concrete.
tomb. Is that or like a grave?
Yeah.
Coffins, cement coffins.
Cement coffins. I don't know. It's so cool because, I mean, if you look at the documentary, which we recommend you watch it so you can see all these crazy things of behind the scenes. At the beginning of his work, it wasn't as highly produced, or he didn't have the strings to pull or the contacts to make it happen as good as later in the time.
Mm-hmm.
So he would come up to tricks to try to put things into the frame that he wanted to have there. Like, for example, the example of that photo that they were doing in the middle of the street. They didn't really close but they put a lot of things in the street, and then they called the police, so the police would come and there would be a police car in the shot.
They called the police on themselves, basically, to have a police car in the shot because they illegally closed the road. So he got his assistant to call them and report that somebody's closing the road.
It's crazy.
That's so cool. That is so cool.
Be resourceful. That's what the kind of like the bottom line here. Be resourceful if you want, the police. Maybe call the police.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that's technically a crime.
I think the crime is already crossing the street.
Right, that's true. It's not a false.
It's not a false calling,
call. Yeah, that's so cool. So interesting.
Yeah. This one's interesting. Well, you passed it, I think.
I'm sorry, but I had to skip a couple.
Yeah, the Cobra one was interesting.
Yeah. Now I'm so curious about the Instagram.
Yeah, we will.
All right, I want to see it.
Okay, we can go and watch it.
Maybe we can come back to this. I'm trying really hard to ignore the fact that our stream is completely out of sync. And I really don't know what's causing it, to be honest with you.
Well, it seems like people are still with us, so maybe they are enjoying it regardless.
Yeah.
Maybe they are not looking at our faces.
Yeah,
There's no need to look at our faces.
You don't need to. Absolutely not. Okay, I found the Instagram.
I think everything is safe for work, so you can open it.
All right. Let's see.
What photo reminds you of a photo that you took?
Of these?
Yeah. You don't have to move more. It's already there.
None of them.
Yeah. You remember the one you took by the water of the man sitting next to the pier?
Oh, yeah.
It's exactly the same. The first one in the middle row.
This one?
Yeah. It reminds me so much.
It's a different...
You have the same kind of framing. It was a very similar situation. The camera respect to the landscape.
Yeah.
I liked your photo more, actually. It was taken in medium format. It's really cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I mean...
it has a very similar vibe.
Yeah, I can see how it's similar. Yeah. Cool. Look at this. This would be something that would be prepared before some of these photos that we were looking at. So it says, one of my favorite paintings I did with gouache last year. So yeah, he would draw something like that when he's imagining the scene, and then you can see very similar to the photos that he makes.
Yeah.
So he imagines the whole thing, he draws it, he writes a script, he gets the act. Oh, look, there's a meme with Bernie. It was so cool. Yeah, so you can like have an idea to this man's mind how it works. So much despair.
Yeah.
I really like it. I wonder what it says here, because there's a yellow traffic light. An Eclipse of Moths.
Yeah, that's the latest one. So I think it's a slideshow, perhaps?
I guess so. Cool stuff. Oh, I already follow him. Cool. Check out his Instagram. Give him a follow if you already don't.
Yeah.
Right. So what do we have next? Boom. Yeah, and then we're done with these. So I think that should be all for today. We've been on for 1.5 hours with a lot of technical issues. I'm not gonna go back to the main screen so you don't feel how much delay it is. At least keep staring at the photo in the center. Don't look at our faces because we're way out of sync. And we really appreciate you guys that stuck around with us and join us every week for this crazy podcast that goes off the rail almost for sure every week. We had a good 2 weeks, I think, with no errors.
Yeah.
And today I felt confident that, okay, not going to use the ice bricks. And look, I'm going to do it in front of you right here. You can see. We're at 66, 65 degrees on the CPU and GPU. And I think that's
okay. It seems hot to me, but
yeah, but that's normal for this
normal
laptop.
hot.
It's not, when I'm usually editing photos, it gets this hot. So it's not, I know it's not the heat.
By the way, we have to maybe talk about that. We finally scanned our first for real 4x5 photos, and they look so good.
Yeah. You wanna see those?
I really like the photos. I think maybe people will wanna watch them.
I don't know.
Perhaps.
Everybody's so quiet in the chat.
They are probably doing something else with it. They don't. If they are not looking at us, they don't wanna. They have their hands somewhere else, maybe.
Let's see. We did a bunch of pictures recently. We got a sun ray box. Expect a review soon.
Yes, that's gonna be the best video ever because it's the best copy light ever. It's so bright.
Oh, you want to see some Washi photos?
I guess people would like to see those Washi photos. And for everyone that is at home listening after the fact on your podcast, then come and check out the
this
YouTube.
This is my friend. He looks
Chronic
really
Fish is eagerly waiting.
cool. They're taking a while to load because these are PSDs.
Samuel looks like Jesus so much.
He does look like, especially when he's inverted.
It's like his other side of the face. It looks more like Jesus.
This was outside our friend's coffee shop that sadly closed.
Yeah.
It was in Stockholm. I think the place will reopen with different owners, but
different name, I guess.
Yeah. And this is my friend as well.
So for anyone that doesn't really know or didn't remember us mentioning, this Washi film is actually paper film.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a paper, Japanese paper, koshi paper, I think it's called, koji paper. And it's hand-coated with a coat of sensitive emulsions, light sensitive emulsion. And then it's dried or everything dark, put onto the 120 spool, and then you shoot that. And you shoot it between ISO 6 and ISO 12,
yeah,
right?
Depending on if it's sunny or cloudy.
And then you actually scan it like a film. You don't scan it as a reflective paper, which you can do it, but it's so thin that you can actually do it as a transparency, like normal film. And these are actually scanned that way.
To be honest with you, these photos are amazing.
Right?
I really like them. There's a lot of detail. There's more tonal range that I expected, especially if you've seen our last video that I completely screwed it up. But I put so much effort in filming it. I was like, okay, I'm just going to put it out anyway. But for some reason, whenever I'm filming a video, I screw stuff up. Whenever I'm shooting by myself, everything comes out wonderfully. So that's the dilemma of you not getting more YouTube videos from us. But we did go out and shoot with a camera that I'm not going to tell you any more about. It's not like, don't get your... forget what I said anything. Right? All right. Just make sure you watch our next video. It's going to be cool. And it's coming. I promise that this one is coming. It has to come out.
It will come out.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen.
Why did we come here?
To show the 4x5, actually.
All right. That's true. Oh, we did take a few more photos that I don't know if I'm ever gonna post on Instagram, but here are some of them. These are still not finished. I'm still working on them, but we were driving back home super late. It was like 4 a.m. and we loaded up a roll of Portra. We didn't film a video about it, but these are the last two shots we found a couple of horses that were
So
just
beautiful.
standing there. I mean, they could have just jumped the fence. The fence was up to my knee.
But I think they were like this was like this road trip we did at was like 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
It was so fairy like type,
It was
especially
crazy. So much mist in the air.
and also these animals. We found a bunch of cows sleeping and
These are the
peeing.
cows. Yeah, I've never seen a cow pee before. It was so freaky. So yeah, these are all the cows that were there. So many cows. Eva found this one. This flipped boat covered in mist. Again, the edit is not final. This one is by Eva. What else did you take? You took this one too.
The one of the trees. Yeah, that one.
And if
It
you
was-
this one is a very common occurrence in Sweden.
Yeah.
Every day, basically, around the same time, the world will look like this.
I think it's because if I remember correctly, now it's being very hot, so the earth gets hot, and then when the temperatures drop by the night, there is like this condensation that builds next to the earth, and this is this mist that we see, and that's why it happens when it's colder in temperature, which is about 3-4 a.m.
So 4x5, that's why we came here.
Yeah.
Again, I want to rescan these. Like this is I don't know, like the 5th time we scanned those. But I still want to rescan these because I think what I want to do. So this is Eva. And you see, like we have a crazy amount of detail.
It's so good.
But I remember I didn't take this photo. This one was taken by our friend Lucia, which you can see here in this photo.
Which maybe is actually watching now, but she's
I
always
know.
so quiet.
You've seen a version of this photo before. It's one of the ones that we did on cyanotype, and this one is the one of Eva.
Which is not insistent.
Yeah, so you can see here that we had different results. We're not sure why. I think it was because of different paper, but you can see the actual scans look like exactly the same in terms of exposure and density, because they were shot at the same settings, same light, nothing changed. They just switch places. And then I remember when I was helping Lucia focus, I remember that I could see your eyelashes.
Yeah.
Much clearly than here.
Yeah.
On the ground glass, and I'm assuming the film has the same amount of detail. I should actually check it with the
Loop. I like that word, loop.
Yeah, and this is actually where I'm sitting right now. You can see that light thingy behind me. So these are super cool, but I think I'm gonna stitch them.
So you want to take 4 photos of this closer with the camera. We're doing this with a DSLR type, and then stitch them together before inversion, and then inverting them and working with them.
Yeah. These 2 photos were shot on Brankopan.
Brankopan.
What am I saying? Yeah, Branco Panchromatic.
Sounds like a car.
Isn't it Branco? What
I
is the
think
name of the film?
I think it's
Branca?
Branco. No, I think it's Branco. I don't know. I don't reach
I
so
don't know.
far.
This is the first time I used the film. I still didn't learn the name. But
Looks good.
yeah,
And developed in Rodinal.
the
1
brown
hour,
box.
right?
Yeah, it's 400 speed. Developed in Rodinal. This one was shot on what's the other one? The cheap one.
Fomapan.
This one is Fomapan 100. This one, the development was freaky because I developed it in an open tray in the bathroom with the lights kind of sealed through the door, and Eva was outside counting the time down for me so I can agitate and whatever. So I don't know if the development is the reason it came out this way. But it's really cool. I used flash for this one. Pancro 400, yeah. But I think it's like, what is the brand?
I think it's Pancro.
No. Pancro is Panchromatic.
Panchromatic.
Yeah, but what's the brand? With the B, I think. It's a brown box. Yeah, anyways.
I can check it out.
This one is, I like it because I flashed, and I'm so happy whenever I take a photo with flash and it comes out. And this is our friend
Berger Pancro.
Berger. Yeah. Berger Pancro. So this one again is not Berger, it's
FOMA.
FOMA 100. And this was her last day in the place.
Mm-hmm.
So she was so happy that I showed up with my big crazy camera to take photos. And this was outside. My friend George. Here you can see half of the photo didn't develop, or not half, like a portion of the photo didn't develop because of the way. So I took CM's advice, and he told me to use a rubber band.
The taco method.
The taco method. So I used the rubber band to put it inside a small Patterson tank.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I put in enough developer solution, but I didn't. And it didn't reach. So this was the part that was
not developed
outside the developer. Same with this photo as well. These are a really cool couple that we met that day, became friends. But again, like you can see, there's so much detail. So cool. And again, this is a single frame on a...
Is this FOMA as well, or Berger?
No, these are
This is
Berger.
Berger.
The only FOMA picture is this one.
Yeah.
And you can see, like, these ones came out much denser.
We should take more ones to see if you know how it develops.
Yeah,
and
it's not conclusive why the FOMA one is the way it is. So I'm not saying that it's not good. Although I heard from a lot of people that you have to be very careful when you're handling FOMA because the emulsion will peel off the...
at least for 120 and 35, especially 35, I heard.
Yes, CM is mentioning that he uses a 7 to 800
It's
milliliter.
800, yeah.
So what I did with the later ones, which are the ones of Eva and Sofia, these two, the first two that we show. Lucia, I keep calling her Sofia. I'm sorry. By the way, did I mention she's an artist? Go check out her YouTube channel.
She's
I don't know. Do you remember that?
Songwriter.
Yeah, she sings and plays guitar. She's
Lopan, I think.
Yeah, check out her and subscribe. She's almost at 1,000.
Is she? Nice.
I don't know. I think. Anyway, subscribe. Yeah. See, what I did, I filled it all the way so I can see the liquid on the outside edges of the Patterson tank, and that way I knew, okay, this time it's definitely covering the film. But it works. The taco method works.
Yeah.
Just one single rubber band around the film.
It's crazy that it works so well.
Yeah, and I think you can fit a bunch of them.
Four,
yeah,
I think.
easily 4, maybe more, because you can put them like this.
Yeah.
So I don't know
Yeah,
if
that's the thing. Like, still, I feel like the film touching each other, but of course it's the other side, so it should not matter.
yeah,
As
so
long as the inside is your emulsion side.
okay, so when you're working with the 4x5 or sheet film in general, you usually grab the what do you call it? The notch on the corner of the film. For me, usually it has to be the bottom right corner because I work with my right hand, so it's the bottom right corner, and I know that the emulsion is facing up. So as long as I'm holding it there, you can just bend it and put the rubber band around it, and that way the emulsion side is safe. CM, who has more experience with this, he says that he uses 3 to 4 sheets at a time, which I think that's a fair amount. Chronic is asking, what developer do you use for Washi? By the way, you use Ilford multi-grade paper developer because it's paper film. You can use Eucobrome. I think that's the recommended one, but I don't know if it's around or available. I'm not really... I don't have a lot of knowledge about paper and working with a darkroom. My knowledge is very, very basic. So we only have used resin coated, so RC paper, and Ilford multi-grade and rapid fixer. And we have this really weird enlarger. But it works. It's simple setup, and that's the developer we have, and it works. It's not on the sheet. When you read the data sheet of the film, they have another developer. I remember it's called PQ Universal, and I use the times and the exposure stuff for that. Now, if you use the other developer, I think it's Eucobrome, then you can rate the film at 25 ISO.
Maybe it's a stronger
Yeah.
developer.
So yeah, if you have that, you can rate that film at 25. If not, as I mentioned multiple times now, 6 ISO speed in the shade and 12 ISO in the direct sunlight.
Mhm.
Yeah. So what else? We have a lot of other photos that we shot.
They still need a bit of editing, I would say.
I think these are pretty cool.
Which ones are those?
These are the ones of you and Lucia when
those are
you're
cool.
working on
Yeah.
these are Lomo 800.
Yep.
That is quite cool. They were working on this what do you call it? Headband. So I started taking some photos. We did test these 2 cameras that I don't know if I talked to you about before. I got a bunch of cameras. I think I mentioned it last week. Oh, now I'm opening Photoshop. Please don't open Photoshop. Everything is gonna crash. Hold on. Cool. We saved it. So yeah, we got a bunch of cameras, including these 2. This one is a Pentax PC100, fully automatic, and I accidentally put it on 400 ISO on the bottom. I didn't even see this. I thought it has a DX code reader, but it actually, you have to choose between either 400 or 100 to 200. So
one stop to 2 stops. It's okay. One stop, more or less.
I don't know what that means. But we loaded the same. So because I didn't know if any of these cameras work, I loaded this one, and then I shot 10 pictures, and then I put it in the dark bag with scissors, and I cut the film, took it out, and then loaded it in this one. And I can say that the Minolta Himatic GF is a really cool camera. This one is 38mm f4. It has zone focusing, and
It's pretty simple. It has 3 aperture modes, which
Yeah,
is sunny,
sunny, cloudy, overcast, and it goes the ISO either 100 or 400. So we set it on 100, and we overexposed some.
gold 200. Color plus 200.
Yeah. So let's see. What do we have here? Here's a good one. There's a photo of me that Eva took. I was definitely not posing for this one. These are all inverted on Photoshop by yours truly, and I was completely too blue. I tried some of them on Negative Lab. They came out pretty nice. So Negative Lab is winning me back. I don't know why. Like sometimes I just hate the results that it gives me, and I need a lot of work. And sometimes one click and it looks beautiful. This was one of the photos that looked really good on Negative Lab. I mean, I wasn't done with it. I just wanted to see how they look, but you can see the heavy blue cyan cast. So yeah, these were with the Konica. Really cool, I think, photos. And I appreciate that you have to focus, because sometimes I can't trust the point and shoots. The Pentax, however, wasn't as good. Again, I think this photo was the last photo that I took with it, and I think that's when I realized that it was wrong. 400.
I mean, color plus underexposed by 2 stops probably it just doesn't look good.
Yeah, like this one. You can see how underexposed it is. And there are some. I think that the flash fired. No, but yeah, most of the roll is underexposed. But they work. This one is cool. I think you took this one, given that it's in the passenger seat.
Yes, I remember, because I was like, should I take a photo? And then I was gonna reach for the camera, and then or something like you had the camera with you, and then I said, oh, I wish I could take a photo of this. It looks so cool, and you were like, here.
Yeah, exactly. The rest of the photos in
This one I
folder
really like. The
are
one
not
before that you
ours.
show.
Yeah, I think we showed these ones. Have we showed these ones?
Which ones are those?
These ones when we shot on the balcony.
Yeah, I think
No, I don't think we showed them on the
We have not
podcast.
showed them.
This is
Photo dump today, guys.
Cinestill 50D. I think it looks really nice.
It looks amazing. I really like it.
These were shot with the RZ67.
I should post some of those, not these ones, not that one, on Instagram. Some of the portraits I took of you or Lucia. I really like.
Yeah, I don't know who was taking these photos.
This
but
one was Lucia, I think.
They should have told me to fix my hair. These are really cool. You took of Lucia.
Mm-hmm.
You nailed the focus. And I don't think this was wide open. I think you were shooting at least f4 or
5.6.
5.6. Super cool. Really, really nice. And I'm really happy with the scans. These I inverted on Photoshop.
Yeah.
So if you think the film doesn't look like that usually, well, I don't know what it's supposed to be looking like. What is this? Oh, yeah, that day we also shot some red scale Metropolis.
Yeah.
And I would say it's pretty cool.
I mean, it is not what one would expect of a red scale process, but it is interesting. Red scale, for anyone that doesn't know what it is, it means that you are actually shooting your film through the film base rather than directly on the emulsion side. So you have to compensate for the exposure because less light is gonna get into the
This photo is crazy.
into the film emulsion, and also it's gonna have a heavy red cast because the first layer that they will touch the light is the red layer, which is the color layer that is more inside next to the base. That's why it's a red scale process. But this one didn't look too red.
Yeah.
But Metropolis in itself, it doesn't have a lot of red. So
No, it's yellow. And I don't know if I told you, but I inverted it, like I flipped it by hand, 120. Easy to do if you have a dark bag. All you need to do is go inside the dark bag, unroll the film, and then when you hit the tape, you peel the tape, and then you flip the film, and then you tape it back, and then you keep unrolling all the way, and then you roll it back.
just go with clean hands into the dark bag.
Yeah, or the other way you can do it is unroll it the whole way, and then flip from the back and start rolling, and then when you hit the tape, you can flip it. You can do it multiple ways. So you can untape, put the tape back, but keep the film untaped, unroll the whole thing.
Mhm.
And then once you hit the edge of the film, hold the roll tight so it doesn't unfold more, and then flip it from there and roll back. Or, you can just go back to the tape. And now the whole film is loose from the paper, but you go back to the tape, you flip it and put it. Play with it. Maybe practice with expired film.
Or with one or already a used roll that it kind of didn't work or something like that. So you put it in a paper back in the right place, and then you train how to do it.
You have to roll tight because the film is gonna want to bow. Yeah, it's gonna want to go like this because you're rolling it the other way that it was rolled, and the curl is set in the film. So now you're reversing the curl. But it should be all right. I didn't have any major bowing. Like the film didn't really move too much. If it does, as you're rolling it tight, at the end, you can remove the tape one more time. So let the film, if it has a bend in it, when you remove the tape, it will push forward and you tape it back. There's going to be a few millimeters moved to one side, but it should be all right. But I think that's it. Now that's it. We don't have any more stuff to talk about. And it's been almost 2 hours. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Sorry about the technical problems. We love you. And if you haven't subscribed, maybe hit subscribe.
Mm-hmm.
And if you like this video, maybe hit the like button. You don't have to. We appreciate you either way. Other than that, we wish you a beautiful rest of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you next time on Constant Agitation.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone.
Peace.
Bye.